Hey, welcome back, guys, to Blue Ridge Silverhound. I'm your host, Sean, for today. And in this video, we're going to focus on something that maybe, perhaps, if you guys think about it, you might have thrown back a coin back into circulation, or if you're an avid coin roll hunter, maybe you just threw it right back into the roll to deposit it back to the bank. Maybe it's a coin that at first glance was damaged, but you know, if you're not familiar with what a strike-through error is, you might have just thrown back a coin that could be worth, lots of money, from 20 bucks to $100 or even more. Okay, we're going to talk about exactly what a strike-through error is and how you can identify one. All right, so I want to thank you guys for joining in on this video. As always, I got to do my YouTube thing. Like, share, subscribe the video to this channel if you so will. Again, the button is just down below, guys. It's a quick little 1 inch away from the video screen. If you're brand new here, welcome. All right, and then let's go ahead and jump into a coin that I feel like would exemplify exactly the difference of what a strike through is compared to one that is possibly scratched. Strike throughs come in various sizes, shapes, forms, and it's real simple. A strike through happens when the coin is being struck, and then there's a foreign substance that is either had fallen onto the blank planchet before the strike, or maybe there's something on the die. Okay, we're going to talk about both forms in this case right here. Okay, and what I did was I added some red guide arrows to help draw your attention to a specific part of the coin. Now take a look at this quarter here. It's the 1965 Washington quarter. This one has some sort of anomaly, all right, at the top of the coin, as you see here on this image graphic. That is actually a staple that had fallen onto the blank before the strike, and it developed this kind of neat little pattern. It almost looks like a little worm, hole. I don't know how else to describe it, but if you were to take something and put it onto a freshly made birthday cake with frosting, and then you lifted that item out without dragging it, then you would have an impression of whatever it is you put in there, so that's what this looks like. This is a legitimate, genuine strike-through error. All right, so this is a great example of this. Now, one thing you're going to notice, the staple is gone. It fell out. Okay, so it's not, in theory, called a retained strike-through. That's where the item that fell onto the blank before it was struck is still on there. Okay, we're going to talk about a few coins right here where you could probably see some sort of retained material, and those coins are always worth the most amount of money, so keep that in mind. So this one right here, this is a coin that's sold on Heritage Auctions November 2nd of 2013, and to give you an idea of how much it sold for, $1,410 for this coin. Now, there's some more neat stuff on the reverse of the coin, and I'm glad that I was actually able to find an example of a coin that has both the retained staple, which I'm all choked up, sorry, which you're going to see on the reverse of this coin, but in addition, there is also a little bit of what they call a pin scratch test mark. Okay, it's simply a scratch that's at the 630 position on this coin, so it's at the bottom of the reverse. You have the actual staple at the top. All right, now this coin right here has two strike throughs. This is really neat, and it's very rare to come across, but they do come across, just in circulation. This is an annex graded AU50. All right, so AU50 simply means that it's not mint state. This coin has circulated, at some point. It's probably in a bank teller's tray, or perhaps at a cash register at your local supermarket. This coin has passed through many hands before it was finally discovered, just off of a curiosity, and it's worth a lot of money. All right, now some of you will probably say, yeah, that is something that I probably would throw back on a number of occasions. You're right. back during my early days of coin collecting and numismatics, I would definitely throw this back. Okay, it definitely looks like something that's damaged, but in theory, it's not. Now, the reason why that this is a great example of both a legitimate strike through and damage is that you could see the difference. Now, on a legitimate, genuine strike through coin, okay, the strike through area, you don't see the buildup of material, right? It's like dragging your finger across the frosting of a freshly made birthday cake. Okay, you drag your finger across the frosting, you're going to have the buildup kind of settle on the sides as you're dragging your finger across that frosting. Okay, it's the same theory with these actual post-mint damage scratches that you see on coins. When you scratch something across the coin, okay, some of the most common things are like maybe a house key or a staple. If you're unpackaging coins, I've actually done that before. Unfortunately, a scratch will damage a coin. When you scratch something, across the surface of a coin, you're going to have some of that buildup of the actual metal, the composition of the coin, build up on its edge. Okay, and you can't really scratch too deep. I mean, you can try, but probably without maybe bending the coin. All right, so I hope I'm able to clarify it within the 6-minute little beginning part of explaining what a strike through is. Now let's go ahead and kind of breeze through a few examples of other different types of strike throughs that you may come across out in the wild. So we have a 1962 Lincoln Memorial cent. Now this one's interesting. This one is what they call a strike through capped die. Now as these coins are being minted, okay, and they're going in rapid succession, you can imagine that one of the coins actually sticks to one of the dies, okay, and then it won't dislodge. All right, it'll stick and stay on that, what they call hammer die. That's the die on the press that moves. All right, where you have the anvil die, which usually has the reverse image, that will be stationary. All right, so the coin will be stuck to the die, and after many strikes, striking other coins, it will actually kind of get larger and it'll cap out and almost be like a baseball cap on that hammered die. So this one right here, this is a coin that was struck from a obverse die that had a cap of a coin on there that never got dislodged until a mint employee actually found it and then, did the maintenance to remove that cap. All right, the cap in itself is a very expensive piece of numismatic error out there, and you really don't see them out there too often, but it's pretty neat to actually find the coin that has the strike through. So that's another example of a pretty neat strike through that in theory might look a little bit funny, all right, and may actually get thrown back into change. You never know. So keep an eye out for stuff that looks like this. So the next example I have here is going to be a 1964 Jefferson nickel. Okay, this one, however, was struck through a cloth, okay, a cloth remnant, whatever it may be. Now keep in mind, these machineries, these presses, they're continuously being serviced, maintained. Mint employees will use, cleaning agents. They have cloths that they use to clean up all the buildup and all the dust and dirt and everything like that, so that way the machines can work in optimum order. All right, so in some cases, a little piece of this cloth can tear and shear off, get stuck somewhere in the confines of that press, and then as these coins are being struck, the cloth would just fall right onto the blank before the strike, and it happens so fast you won't even know. And you have this really neat pattern that you see on this coin. Okay, you can even see the threading, the thread count of whatever cloth had fallen onto the coin before the strike. Very, very rarely do you see the retained cloth on there. Sometimes you'll find little fibers that actually are still on the coin. Those are, again, the most desirable when there's any sort of remnants of that fiber action on the coin. So this one right here sold for $862.50, December 4th of 2009 on Heritage Auctions. So again, gives you an idea of how much a coin like this is worth. On the side note, someone on coincommunity.com, if you go onto the Modern Errors page, that link onto that forum site, a gentleman by the name of John 1, okay, that's what his profile name is there, He just recently found a struck through cloth Lincoln cent. It's actually not 100% coverage, it's actually more like 70%, but it's a really neat specimen, and it's an extremely valuable coin in which he found simply coin roll hunting pennies. All right, pretty neat find. All right, so the next coin I wanted to talk about that's a strike through is going to be something that we come across quite often, but nobody really gives it any credence because of how kind of innocent it looks. It's a 1993 Lincoln cent. It's a memorial cent. This one has been struck through a copious amount of grease, and you see the result right here. You have a lot of the devices on the edge, toward the edge of the coin, that are just completely obliterated. All right, the 3 in the date is pretty much gone. Okay, the 1 in the date is pretty weak. The first couple letters in Liberty, you have in God we trust, completely gone. So when you have a nice healthy buildup of grease, and the mint employees use the grease to keep the press lubricated. Okay, that's why they use it. That's why they do that. But you get a buildup of this grease on the coin before the strike, and it just completely obliterates some of the devices on the coin, and that's what you have. Okay, the coin like this sold on eBay a few short days ago. As a matter of fact, January 12th of 2020 for $7.50. All right, this is probably your most common strike-through error, but keep in mind, if you're going through, like, say, a $25 box of pennies, all right, I would say that you probably will come across maybe 2 to 4 of these in a box. They are pretty common. Now, if each one sells for between $5 and $10, okay, that all stacks up, all right? And that's a lot of value right there. People just don't pay enough attention to the strike-through grease error. All right, so the next one that we have here is going to be actually one of your newer quarters. All right, this is a 2019 West Point San Antonio's Mission quarter. Okay, this is the coin that we've been like clamoring to find last year because it was one of the circulation rarities that the U.S. Mint had put in place. All right, a really cool chase coin. But right here, this is actually a strike-through little piece of debris on the obverse of the coin. You could see it right toward the base of Washington's bust. All right, so this one was sold by TN Hick 6739 on eBay for $57.88, December 9th of 2020. Okay, these coins were selling for about $15 to $20 as a regular coin pulled out of change, but you throw in that nice tiny little kind of like under the radar error on there, that strike through, and you have a coin that's worth nearly 3 times the amount of money. Again, keep an eye out for stuff that looks like this. All right, the coin was being struck, a little piece of debris had fallen on there, whatever it is, a gob of grease with dust in it, I don't know. But this one right here, a legitimate, really nice error to find. All right, so the next one that we have here is going to be a 1966 Washington quarter. Now check this one out. This one right here can honestly pass as a damaged coin to a lot of people. But in reality, what we have here is an insane strike through on the reverse of the coin. Now, what had fallen onto this coin before the strike is anybody's question. It could be a hard, just filthy, big old piece of grease. It could be a beat up old piece of planchet or a piece of metal that had fallen into the striking chamber as the blank was being seated in there before the strike. There's a couple different theories, but this one right here is an amazing strike through error. Now this one right here was sold by Niles Coin Shop on eBay November 13th of 2020 for $26. Again, something that looks so innocently damaged in reality could be a strike through. Pretty cool coin right here. And then finally, strike through errors can happen on anything. All right, in this case, foreign coins. All right, they're not immune to things that happen like this. You know, human error at the mint. It all happens on all coins. What we have here is a 2006 Australia 10 cents coin. Now this one here has some sort of obverse strike through The person selling it, which by the way is Nocturnal89 on eBay, I probably thought it was like a piece of string or something. But if you look closer on the schematic, okay, that line is awfully straight in a way. I mean, it's got a little curve to it, but it's got no wave either. And it has like little divots on there, okay, which means that it could be a strike through reading. All right, reading is obviously the little lines that are on the edge of the coin. You know, sometimes you get a little piece that falls off of another coin, lands on the blank of the next coin. You know, for example, this Australia 10 cents gets struck, and then that piece falls out, and you have a really neat strike through. This one right here sold on eBay November 7th of 2019 for $9.61. And I wanted to take a little time to kind of like correct, because I didn't think about, I'm like all about 2020, but all of the previous sales on here, like the 66 quarter and the 2019 West Point, they sold in 2019 and not 2020. I just noticed it on my notes. So yeah, a little bit of a chuckle on at my expense, obviously. But I hope this video was a tremendous help. All right, there's a lot of different strike throughs that can be found. Okay, this is just a small amount, a little sample size, so to speak, of the various strike throughs that you can find out in the wild. Keep an eye out for these. You never know what kind of insaneness that you will find as a result of just simply taking it out, putting it aside, and then throwing it up on Facebook or a forum group to get a second opinion. It's incredible, and I want to thank you guys for joining in. As always, like, share, subscribe, hit the bell for instant notification. That's right next to the subscribe button. And as always, Coinaholics, we are discovering together. Enjoy the search, and I will see you on the next video.